Mr. Wim Hof is a unique person. He mastered his ability. I admire his abilities, but I can see this man is too much on fire. People following already his trend and his way. It works until a certain grade, and then they burn out. You want to drive a Formula One car, but you don't even know how to drive, I would say, the bicycle, for example.
The Grand Circle course, like, what people don't always understand is, like, what I really like that you said is that, or from the ancient times even, I think you said, like, what they have this saying, like, transmit the principle, not the skill. Because the principles allow you to actually become eventually like this mastership. Because that's even what we are like doing in our programs as well. We were first like, it was more like, well, we had these exercises, but then we actually share what is behind them, like where do they actually come from, what is the meaning, what is the purpose, because actually what is invisible, what is the intention, and all of the principles are different intents that you put into doing them, makes bigger difference than actually what is the external form, although of course even the external movement and such makes difference. But the bigger difference is actually what is happening inside, what people can't really see, and that's often the thought processes, the different feelings, the different like stuff that happens internally there, and covering like this in the Grand Circle course, I think it was really amazing because it really allows people to truly get more independent, and it's not just only like they're like, well, master, tell me exactly what is this, and I'll just follow, but that they can actually start to understand by their own bodies. Like this is what I always emphasize: you gotta try to embody this stuff. Learning through doing. Yeah. Like internalize the internal principles. I guess you could say it like that.
And you can ponder in these kind of words. You can ponder also in this kind of approach, and you will find automatically for every question what arise the own answer, or the answer by your own. Sorry, you can find. You ask, why is it like that? Why is it like that? And only through practice the answer will be given by themselves.
True.
And that is also what we need to understand, not always to rely on somebody. That is very important. Be your own master. But to be first your own master, you need to go through that kind of basic and fundamental stage. If you don't have the fundamentals, then you will never reach your goal. And that is what I say. People, they want to learn the I Ching Ching, for example. You want to learn the I Ching Ching, but you don't understand the breathing. Then you don't understand the Bagua Zhang, and then you don't understand the Shi Sui Jing, and you want to learn the I Ching Ching, what is already here. And that is the wrong approach. That is, you want to drive a Formula One car, but you don't even know how to drive, I would say, the bicycle, for example, or even I don't know, the normally small car, that kind of sedan. But you want to drive immediately the Formula One car, and that.
Yeah, and I know there's people who they want to like immediately learn like the highest form or something like that, and what do you have? If you just have that form, then just have like a beautiful choreography. Like that's all you actually have, and like you're kind of missing out like I don't know, like 90% of what Qigong can give you. All that sort of vitality benefit. Like
that's why I feel that very, very sorry, I need to say that very out loud. That's why I feel that very funny that people, they do the Negong teachings immediately. And they talk about Negong and they talk about this and they talk, but themselves, they looks like skinny, not vital persons. And they talk about Negong. It is really, that is so, I would say, full of contradiction. Because if you talk about some kind of higher abilities and you talk about Negong, that sounds very fashion and that sounds very, oh, you can learn some higher stuff. But do they represent what they actually provide? And that is actually the biggest issue what we face today. Do they represent what they provide? And that is a big appeal to all of us, because we are like to seeking the real truth, and we need to face that this mediocre and also fooling around in this kind of matters need to stop, because there are a lot of believers in these arts. They will lead to the labyrinth of Qigong, Negong, and so on, only because somebody said you can reach at the high level and so on and so on, but nobody reached that level.
Yeah, there's no one.
I would say they reach a certain kind of level, but they have no evidence how that really work. And this is actually, people need to be aware of it.
But I think it's great. Like,
look, you can see a person, for example, I would say Mr. Hoff, Mr. Wim Hof is a unique person. He master his ability, but he still need to master his way of speech.
You managed to.
That is still a part which I admire. I admire his abilities, but I can see this man is too much on fire, and he didn't master the way of his speech, because the vulgar art of talking, that is not very beautiful.
He has this the tumo breathing, like essentially is that, and which raises the fire always, and it's great. I think it works for people, but I think alone it's not. People, then you're always like this, like firing up yourself when the normal regular state that I think is more like, burnout. And I think the breath power is better. It's much more fundamental breathing pattern, and when you have that basic body machine and the breathing apparatus working properly, then you don't need to do every day like hyperventilation or something. It can be great for a specific purpose, but like you said, you do it all the time. It can kind of lead you to imbalanced. I'd say you have an imbalance.
It works for him, but it doesn't mean it works for others. People following already his trend and his way, it works until a certain grade, and then they burn out.
Like if you think about people who have no breathing background, who don't know anything about breathing, haven't breathed properly in their lives, and then they start a new breathing practice. Of course, it's like people who start training without any background. They're just throwing around weights. They're gonna build some muscle in the beginning, but in the long run, it's gonna break their body as well. I think maybe there's a little bit similarities to it as well. Like if you just keep on doing that, yes, it has the benefits in the beginning, but the accumulation of that, it does impact in your body, like really really strong impact, but only to one direction.
Okay, that is only done
essentially.
But the exercises what is provided in the internet, we need to see also through. Okay, that some exercises are not for everyone. You need to really find your own way how to approach that. And we have moving Qigong, we have sitting one, we have Qigong where you stand only for the people they don't like to move, or even they can't move. We have lying one where you lie on your bed and you can do your own rehabilitation, maybe when you have already suffered from a surgery in hospital. These things we already provide for a long time. And you can see the testimonials, what we receive. They're all approaching in the website. Okay?
I think it's really incredible that people usually they like to have this one thing, like the one secret breathing pattern. And for example, in our courses, like you explained, like we've gathered everything, we have like 10 different breathing ways. You know, you have that sort of for more like calming down, for more balancing yourself. There's the heating breathing and the energizing breathing and all these methods. Like you really need to start to see this in a more maybe broader manner, that you can, not everything is good for, like even in eating, when we were talking about with someone, like nothing is good like all the time, like almost like that way. Like it always goes kind of above the limit at some point. So having these different options that you can actually choose and get to know your body better and get to know the emotions that you have better, so you know the techniques that you should be do in order to balance out these things. But so, yeah, I think we've had a pretty good talk about these different really impacts and benefits that Qigong can make. You know, we touched on the hormone stuff and all of that, but we also touched on the different internal abilities. We've touched on the different external abilities. I think, you know, it's just quite incredible to have this sort of ancient perspective on it that has pretty much been like to a great extent hidden, like completely. I think it's great that we've been able to put it.
There is still so much what I have. I have nourishing the qi in 3 ways, the yang qi sansi. I have the mei, so the different kind of approaches, how to develop the energy in the fingertips and in the palms. I have also the sensory gong, which is actually a skill where you can develop different kind of energy showers. And you have the Wusong method, what already Master Shiheng Yi give into the internet, where you can learn how to really relax your body in different ways. And there's also different kind of approaches of the Changong, the Buddhist, I would say the Shaolin method, what derived actually from the abbot of Shaolin to Taiwan into my hands. And there is a different kind of Shengong, where you have this spirituality Qigong approach. So there are a lot of things what we still can work on, and there are also the different ways of the I Ching Ching, where we can approach the I Ching Ching in a totally different way, as actually is shown already in the internet, because my approach is a little bit different than others.
This course is really to make this foundation, you know, all these courses that we have, it's a foundation that already takes you to a very high level, and then like all of the stuff that you said, it's just like it allows you to branch off to these different areas. I think that's really beautiful in that sense, or the beautiful aspect of these courses. But for now, it's time to probably go to sleep. It's late. It's very late in Thailand. So I really thank you for this call. It's really incredible and amazing to again hear all this stuff. So take care, guys. We'll talk to you soon again. Bye.